Hello and happiest of days to each of you folks. I hope you guys are having just an absolutely amazing day today. So today for Serial Saturday, I'm doing my reviews of movie and TV serials and that sort of thing too. So the idea here is that this is the day I've dedicated to these sort of forgotten storytelling genres of movies like Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Tarzan, that sort of stuff too. So we'll go back and watch those. Some TV stuff too, like Doctor Who. Alright, so let's check it out. Today is 1950s. This is The Invisible Monster. This is by Republic. It's 12 chapters. They're very fast, 167 minutes. So this stars Richard Webb as Lane Carson. It also stars Alan Town as Carol Richards and Lane Bradford as Burton. It also stars as the Phantom Ruler Stanley Price and John Crawford as Harrison. It's directed by Fred C. Brandon and written by Ronald Davison. Just a couple people in that case. So I was hoping that by the title, The Invisible Monster, that this would be an epic sci-fi or horror. Or maybe both, like The Blob. But unfortunately, it's not. It's a Cold War era film with some spy elements and some superhero ones too. So our primary bad guy, the villain, and the title Invisible Monster has created a device that will make him invisible and that sort of thing. And so he set out to raid a bunch of things in our protagonist's city. And those are things and various businesses that he'll raid and rob from. And that sort of a thing that are owned by, that are insured by the insurance company that has them getting taken care of. And that sort of thing too. And so we'll also find out his identity in the first episode, which is very sad. I think it could have been done a whole lot easier. I mean, it's like built right into it. The Invisible Monster, right? Why are we finding out who he is in the first episode? Then, as they are raiding various things and so forth, so they hire the PI investigator, private investigator Lane Carson, and then Carol Richards is a scientist in the case to help out. I also really like her in the first episode, in the first couple of episodes, showing her as being much more smart, much more savvy than that sort of thing, and then Lane. But they'll actually switch that later on. Lane's got a mansplain to her, and that sort of thing. Still, nonetheless, and that sort of thing too, it feels a little weird at times. So this, like I said earlier, this feels a little weird with a battle-done plot, and then the big bad has no tension. Who he is early revealed, and his invisible identity feels like it was set up and then just not delivered on, if that makes sense. I do like Carol's character, like I mentioned earlier, as a scientist, but again, she can sometimes get in and out of stuff. There aren't great sets, there aren't great costumes, right? It's set contemporaneously as a Cold War thriller, right? And that sort of thing. So I feel like this is probably more of a vibe about it, right? And that sort of thing. But I'll link it to you in the comments below on YouTube where I watched it for the first time last Saturday for you folks. Now, have you seen this? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As a reminder, I am not a trained movie critic. I didn't go to film school or anything like that too. So that means your opinion is going to be just as valid, right, as mine is, right? So I'm happy to engage you with it further in the comments below, whatever your thoughts are, and if you agree or disagree with my 5 out of 10, if it's higher or lower. Also, like I mentioned earlier, serials were heavily influential in modern days, and we sort of forgotten that, and that sort of a thing too, which I think is a little sad. You know, for example, when some of these things were sold out, and they would really sell out theaters and that sort of thing, and help us continue to be coming back to theaters, right? For example, in that time, you wouldn't go to one theater and see a couple of trailers and then go home. A movie that you knew about, you would go for like half a day. You would see a couple of shorts, sometimes trailers, but they weren't as common then. Only for the major stuff that they could afford the expense. Otherwise, you would just watch newsreels and shorts, like short comic cartoons like Steamboat Willie that are a few minutes long. Then you'd watch the A picture, and then a serial, and then head right on into concession intermission, rather to get concessions, to the bathroom breaks, and also to talk about the serial. And so what's going to happen? Let's find out. It was they weren't talking about the A picture; they were talking about the cereal, right in that intermission. And then you come back, and then they would show you the B picture after another couple of shorts, and another couple of shorts too, and then after that, then you would have the next cereal. And then you would leave. And again, those would be the water cooler talk of the day. How are they going to survive the cliffhanger? Let's find out next week. Let's head to the theaters, right? That was what sold the seats. And that sort of thing really sort of kept people going. And everybody would show up at the theaters, from families to schools, to businesses, to churches, right? And that sort of thing. Everybody would show up from their community, and they would be talking about it. It was the early water cooler talk before that phrase became commonplace today. So that's why, the reasons why I care about it so much and spending some time with it today. On Wednesday, I do something I call Video Game Wednesday, where I do reviews of older video games. Right now I'm doing the Fallout series. I just did Fallout 3 from 2008, if I remember correctly, so next will be Fallout New Vegas. If I played it, and even spin-offs, if I played it, I'm reviewing it. But if I haven't played it, then I'm not going to review it, because that's not fair to the game. And that sort of thing. Alright, so on Monday I do reviews of older war games like Battletech, or role-playing games. I Miller role-playing game, for example. Lots of Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Right now I'm reviewing modules. I've done like 8 or 9 modules by Gary Gygax. And people by tons of folks and so forth. Right now we're doing the UK modules. I just did UK 4 when Star Falls, and now I'm doing UK 5 for you folks. And then the other 3 days a week I do older reviews of science fiction stories, fantasy or horror too, and the 3 genres that we cover, all older stuff that you're reading, and that sort of thing too. And so if those 7 older things a week sound like your cup of tea, then great. Welcome to the channel and have a seat. I think you'll enjoy your time here quite a bit, right? And while you're here, why not do all the YouTube stuff like the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon to be notified of those 7 videos plus occasional Let's Plays here and there. And also share with your friends to basically share and watch. Those are key ways to grow this channel. They're ready for you folks. And there you go. As you can tell from those 7 older reviews a week, that's sort of the passion of this channel. It's even more to me comes from, which is a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old stuff, right? So this is definitely some older stuff we might have forgotten about. And our passion for the new experience, new video game, the new novel, the new video movie. In this case, we've sort of forgotten how that these things are standing on the shoulders of giants. So let's check out those giants, right? Heavily influential and stuff today. Not that they're bad, they're not, right? But we should definitely be checking those things out. Hope you out. Like I said. Also, my number one is strength. In Strengths Quest is context, a positive psychology approach to personality types is context. I appreciate something more. So watching the serials, for example, that influence Star Wars heavily makes me appreciate it more, if that makes sense. Alright, so there you are. I just want to thank you so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my videos, because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions too, right? So the fact you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much for just taking some time out of your day, right? So thanks again, and have an amazing day.